We played our Monarch deck at Locals today, our Lith Turbo, and it was fine. It wasn't anything crazy. I was happy with the way most of the deck performed, but some of it was not great. The solar aspect of the deck, terrible. It did not come through. Calfmel was fine. He healed sometimes, but Heliolith did almost nothing for us because you have to have the Calfmel to make it work. We're not playing another way to really go into it. But the solar, or the thunder and the fire parts of the deck, incredible. They were what was changing the game constantly. We had multiple strange scenarios come up. Arcolith is wild. It's a great card. I was surprised at how strong getting the 3 onto him was. I knew it'd be pretty good, but I didn't realize I would be able to do it so consistently all the time. It's very easy to protect your Astrabbit using your back row, or if they get to your Astrabbit, you don't think it's worth using your back row on it. Playing them out once they get 2 guys on board. You just play a slow, control to mid-range strategy for the early part into swinging big later. I had a couple games where swinging 2 times with an Arcolith was it, game over. If we weren't winning, it was down to the wire close, which I know is common for this game, but there were a couple games where we were just so far ahead that nothing you can do about it. But Lavalith, Arcolith, incredible. Heliolith didn't go too great. I'm showing a couple of things here on the screen to show you what I mean. It was strange. Spectrus, like expected, Spectrus and Dense Fog are incredible pieces. We almost never used Boombat. I don't even know if I have any use of Boombat on camera from the testing before and after, or the playing in the event. But he's still useful. Most of the time it was just in case we need him. But we used resting in most cases there, I believe, so you know, the kill spell's a kill spell either way. But we were disappointed enough in the solar that we actually changed the deck up and did some more testing, and this feels like the current best build of what I was trying to get at with this strategy. So we have 3 Astrabbit. It's Astrabbit. I could throw up footage if I want, but this is one of, if not the strongest utility cards in the game. It's got a great defense. This part that gets a little stranger is we are on 3 copies of Astrabbit now. Because 5 defense, it's on board. Its effect is very good. In this deck, it is recurring Liths, it is recurring things to grab Liths back or to get more cards. We're on 3 Arcolith now, and 3 Lavalith now. Because we took out the solar engine, we just boost it straight up. Every time I drew a Heliolith, I wished it was one of these 2, so just boost it up there. The way we are playing the deck, we will always be able to put these out on the field is the goal. Then, only other Elestrals we are playing at all are 3 Spectrus and 2 Boombat. They're great removal pieces. They just... Boombat can kill a guy if he wants, but also Spectrus is just incredible. There were a lot of tricky things that were able to be done with him. Our runes changed a bit too. We have 3 Ambrosia, of course, but we went from 2 Nog to 3, because Nectar is... If I drew it, it felt like I was winning. The way that meta is shifting in Daybreak, I think deck building gets a lot more fluid. Putting those 2 spirits in grave matters so much less now that we can use 2 Thunder and then Arcolith them back out, you know, and then use those to pay for something, or Arcolith and then use the Arcolith's spirits to pay for the Nog if we're not being aggressive with it, you know? Then we have 3 resting for the same reason that we are always able to play our Arc and Lavalith. We want to be behind a board presence. We're not on any Divine, so it makes it a lot easier to get this alive so we don't have to go into green or get the others live, you know? We have 2 Rise, which came up more often than I thought. Rise from the Ashes, you can cast with 3 Thunder to bring back, once again, Lith, which then is going to activate to pick those same Thunder up and put them on the Lith. It is, this card is the main beater, utility piece, advantage engine of the entire deck. Just, it felt incredible every time. And even better, you can Lith, get 3 more Thunder from grave, use those Thunder to pay for the Rise, get back a Spectress or a Boombat, some other playable. I got back Astrabbit multiple times. Just felt very good. Then we have 2 Helios Chariot Ride, because it's so good. I misplayed earlier today. I lost to Lost Person on Wasp Ivy because that deck is very consistent and very strong. And this is one of the only cards that can stop that. Activating this in the draw during a turn where you know you need them to not just pop off if they're on the Fruit Engine like he is. I need to get better about declaring I want to do something. I come from Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is a very draw, standby, main phase, declaring your steps as you go, and in this game people don't do that very much. So a card like Helios Chariot Ride, which can only be cast during the draw phase, my opponent will go straight to main, I don't think, to say I want to do something and draw, and then they'll start to play cards, and I go, wait, I wanted to do something, but I'm not out loud telling them I wanted to do something in main. I need to get better about that. I'll put the footage up here. You can see me misplaying and then getting Wombo comboed, you know? He just completely went off. If I had activated this there, the Lava Lith in hand that I had to be able to break a rune next turn, beat over, possibly. I had possible plays, but I did not get to use them because I misplayed the usage of this card. And then, the obvious part, 3 Gorgons, 3 PTA, and the less obvious part, 2 Dense Fog, 2 Chains. Dense Fog's crazy. There were many times where someone would activate an effect to Nexus, and I would Dense Fog when it was obvious they were about to Nexus onto an Astrabbit so they don't get the extra plus, or onto or if they were going to set up Ambrosia plays, use it. Well, now you can't use that Tertia to draw because it's blanked for the turn. It doesn't stop things on, or that are already activated on the chain, but if you blank it at the beginning of, before the plays happen, before anything's activated, it destroys that play. And this, I tested quite a bit afterwards. I didn't get any footage of this deck running, but it felt very good. The Thunder build that we ended on for one of our locals, Andrew, ended up being very similar to this, and both are running at about the same level where it turns into my advantage engines, my Nectar Gods being drawn, my Liths being drawn, my counters being drawn at better times and used in better spaces than yours are what are winning the game. Just straight up. It all comes down to the Liths between what is going on at our locals, besides fighting into other bigger things. Like, there's still Wasp Ivy, there's still more Frost, but even in those, our Spectress, our Lith, it's very awkward, the pieces that have become more important than I thought they would. Lava Lith was always good, but now it feels like the Liths are a little more oppressive, which I kind of like. It's very strong, hence why I've named this deck Monarchs, of course. It's still Monarchs, just now we're only playing, it's like when you, I think at one point, they cut Mobius. They went to just Rise Akaius. You cut one of them that's not quite as playable, just play the other two. And so for the spirits, I realized that we didn't really show them off, or I don't think I showed them off previously. We are on 7 Fire, 8 Thunder, and 5 Lunar. Lunar is important, but it's our least important. There's only 2 cards we're playing in it. Thunder's maybe the most important because of Arcalith and his ability to recur from grave, and then Fire is just... Lavalith is good. We're also on chains, so we just have plenty to be able to spare. That way, when we're paying for Nectar of the Gods and stuff, we want to be using Zaptor. That way we can go ahead and recur those back using the Arcalith. This engine feels really good, and I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to be playing this newer version in our locals on Monday, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. See you in the next one.